You okay?
Okay, so this has been really interesting, and I like this. This is what I want us to be able to speak about, because in every industry, we need to be looking at trends and looking at what is going on. Now, for me, BookaTailor came in just in time, because I've been trying to explain something to the designers. He is not, and you use the term, I understand, he's making a profit out of every car they sell, but rethink it this way. If every person, individual tailor, is buying threads, paying for a vehicle, they're buying it at retail.
Right. That's true.
If one person goes in and negotiates,
Right.
they're getting a wholesale, they're batch processing.
Absolutely.
They're getting a wholesale price.
Which is the key to a
Right.
franchise.
Right. So
Which is the
once
benefit.
So once he gets, say, let's use something like printing. If each of my designers went in, they'd be paying $100 a yard for digital printing. We were able to talk to a digital printer to see, what if we can get 50 yards a batch? She said we can go to X dollars. If you go a little higher than that, we can go down.
Right.
We can then do that, and because we're processing, we can, even if we put in a $20 on each yard, the designers still save. And we make a little bit of revenue to go towards the company. That's a batch processing model. It benefits the designers because they're getting a cheaper price. They don't have to do the negotiating. They have a group rate on their insurance. That's what a franchise
That
model,
takes away
or
a lot
collective, takes away a lot of
Headache.
responsibility.
Yeah,
And
a lot
legwork.
of headache.
They paint it, it's not
Because-
just 10 individual
Yeah.
cars, but one car, so it's an impact. We need to think like that as communities.
Yeah.
But we're so self-absorbed
Yeah.
that we're not seeing that batch processing. And that's why I said I understood what you said. I don't want to use the term that he's gaining, because
No, I just mean that, like, what did you call it?
I said it's a wholesale, it's a pre-sale
Yeah.
version. So here's the thing. If I come to a company and say, this year, mass dealers, masquerade, we're going to be using 50,000 pounds of feathers. Here's a card we're going to be using. Every member is going to come in and buy it individually. But because we're promising you to sell 50,000 pounds of feathers collectively,
Absolutely.
you're going to give it to us at X price. For every one you sell, we get a small percentage. Now, everybody benefits.
Absolutely.
And that's where the tech world differs from the rest of the community. They can think as a group. And he sees now he's doing what Uber and a whole lot of them should do, which is what I like about, don't like the fact that he's screwing up my fashion and tailoring. He and I will fall out for that.
Right.
But he's a smart young guy.
Very smart.
He has designed.
Which is what I noticed right away.
And now, with us, I've said to,
Sorry.
we're not dealing with fashion. I said to Lawrence, I don't think I want to deal with individual designers. And he said, why? I said, too complicated, too much ego. But I noticed a while ago, because I help designers, we do both technical designs for our young designers, that every time you develop a pattern for a dress, it's $450 to $1,000.
Wow.
It's just so much an A-line skirt can be for one particular region.
Absolutely.
What if we split that 450 cost, so 10 designers are using the same pattern to redesign their prints and things? That means they're all responsible for $45 rather than $450.
Which is a lot more, a lot less
That's
prohibitive.
collective working, but it's also a business model. So when you come in and you pay a yearly fee as a franchise or a membership of this collective,
You have access to all
you
of
have
that.
access to a whole lot of things, but you end up saving in the long run. That he didn't sell it like that, but that's what essentially his kiosk and his different things
Absolutely.
and franchises are going to do.
Absolutely.
Now, the business of that for him is that he's done all the work. He's organized it. He's looking for somebody who's looking to run a business and brand it. And then
Done all the branding, done all the
will
advertising,
sell
because
it
that
and rename it.
advertising that he got tonight was
they will sell it and
was
rename
great.
it. They will sell the company and rename it under a fashion brand.
yes.
A fashion
Yes.
company will buy
Yes,
that.
and I could see a few years, and not that long, a fashion company down the road would want that because of the list.
Mhm.
The list.
And even
Because these are young, figure it out. These are
Men's-
young
this
buyers.
is Men's Warehouse, the next generation.
Right, and most of the people who are going to be attracted to buying a suit or a shirt this way are going to be younger buyers. So now, if you're a fashion warehouse and you're established, like give me a good men's fashion warehouse.
Joseph Abood.
Okay, so now Joseph Abood client is probably what? He could be 25 to 55
bit
to maybe
older.
65. He's a
He's
bit older.
but this
He's
is
a
a
bit
good
older.
way to bring
But
a
that's
young
what I'm
man
trying
in.
to say.
This
Not
is
only
a-
that, but
yeah.
those young men are going to be 35 soon. They're going to be 45.
And they're
but
going to
right now
merge
they're
into-
25.
Yes. So you see,
So they're going to want a better suit.
yes.
They're going to want a better
This is
suit and a
where-
better shirt.
But a lot of the old established companies don't see that as an entry point. We had this
That is so
discussion.
true. That
And
is
we
so
see
true.
it-
I mean,
We
how
had
many
it-
of these tech companies? What was that one? The one. What was it? Is it Snapchat? I'm thinking of. They
The
went to
pictures.
AT&T, and the one that does the texting.
Okay, I see.
Oh.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
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 They went to AT&T, and asked them, "Would you like to buy this?"
A lot of them don't.
And they said no.
Yeah.
Google, Facebook bought it.
But because a lot, and here's the thing.
And what did they buy? But that list.
A lot, exactly.
You don't pay a company how much billion? 3 billion?
Yeah, but most of us don't understand that it's not the app that's important, but the list.
The list.
Because
It's the
once you
name.
buy technology, you can change the technology, you can shelve it.
And that's what this
Facebook
guy
has
is selling.
bought a lot of companies
That's
and
right.
shelved
Shelved
them.
them.
Yes, they just want but believe it or not, I mean, come on, that's not a new thing. Microsoft used to do that when they owned the market before Apple became as big as they did. They would say, "Oh, you've got a great concept and a great technology,"
want it.
and we want it, and they would buy it and they would just shelve it.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't want the competition.
They
Yeah.
just did.
Which is when
exactly.
that antitrust suit came in bought by Sun Microsystems, right? Yeah.
So we have to understand, when we say to designers and to niche people get together, collectively, designers could be doing this.
Absolutely.
But they've got to get rid of their individual, I want my name on the banner.
Right.
And they all will be on Etsy, getting none of the benefits. But they're I'm
And
on
giving Etsy all of the lists.
everything.
Everything.
Everything. But because they all want their name on the banner. And it's not as though Etsy is supplying what they need.
Right.
They're not.
Yeah, I've been on Etsy's site. I'm not that impressed. I mean, I buy from eBay, as I mentioned to you, and Amazon.
Etsy is not your customer because when you buy fashion, you pay for fashion.
Yeah.
And you pay for quality. Etsy is not quality.
I haven't found too many
Yeah.
things on Etsy.
If you-
Unless I wanted to buy from someone specifically and they told me I'm on Etsy, that's different.
Then
But
if-
I couldn't see myself just going there to buy something.
Right, and that is in most cases. And most of these people, if they had their own site and you're actually making the contact, why are you sending your contact to Etsy?
Right.
Because Etsy is giving you nothing.
Right. And
It's-
taking a lot. Taking a lot. I
Okay.
mean, I look at, just going back to this site, I mean, if you think about it, this guy makes money if you just buy the cheapest thing or the least expensive thing, which is the 2 shirts for $99, because what he has is your list.
Let me tell you
He
what
has
is-
your list.
Yeah.
Let
He has
me
a
tell you what
qualified
is-
buyer.
Let me tell you what this man has done. This man is going to move from shirts to anything a man has in his wardrobe.
Absolutely. Shoes.
Shoes, iPad case.
Socks.
And now he's starting with women.
He's right. Now
He's doing women's suits.
he's going to get out of that soon because
Women return more.
women return more. They're also funny
Right,
and their
right,
bodies
right,
are
right,
different.
right, right.
Most women hate the Taiwanese, the Asian fit.
That's true. I know I do.
Yes.
It's very, for me, it's very boxy.
Even
I don't.
suits, he's going to be paying a lot in tailoring.
Right.
Unless he brings in experienced tailors.
Right.
And when I ran the stores, Anne Klein, terrible fit. Tafari,
Yeah,
Tahari was a Tahari.
Tahari.
Terrible fit.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what, Jones of New York, look, it may not be a brand name,
Yeah.
but any woman who walked into the dress shop with a Jones of New York suit, all I had to do was hem it.
Wow.
So if he can get that, Jones of New York will partner with him in that distribution model, then I could see.
Wow.
But Jones of New York is not, I don't see them as that forward-thinking a company. And
yeah.
their model has been very staid.
And getting older, I think.
Older, now every fit, Anne Klein is a young college fit.
Right.
Okay? Each company has a fit, a woman they cater to. And they don't seem to think that woman grows. The company never grows.
No, because as she gets older, the younger one comes in.
Yeah. So they're not growing with their customer. And so okay, I get a list and I'm growing with my customer as she grows.
Right.
Men do that better.
Right.
A man's company will get 2 or 3 lines that caters as his customer. The woman's customer thinks that woman is always going to be 20 to 35.
Wow.
And the women who really spend in fashion are 35 to 65,
Absolutely.
size 12.
Absolutely. Because they have the money.
Yeah.
They have the money and the
They
discretionary
have the
income.
husbands.
Absolutely. They do. And they just want to look a certain way to impress,
Yeah, they have the jobs, the positions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We've always known it in fashion. It's not the young model is looking to tag a man. She'll wear the clothes and return it. If you want to make
Once
money,
it accomplishes its
Yeah.
purpose, it's
if you want to, couture is not about the woman, it's about the man behind the woman. And people get offended in woman's lib. No. No one is paying $25,000. Even a woman who earns it and makes it is not spending her money on it.
No.
She's spending her man's money on
Absolutely.
it.
Her keepers.
Yes.
But I see what you're saying with this, and that absolutely, I definitely could see that in a few years he's going to have a very
He's gonna
large
do well.
list, and and especially if he's trying to build in New York City with these franchises, then you're talking about people that have a certain level of income.
He's,
You know?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the
As
problem.
a list.
Yeah.
As a list.
Even the young tech guys are going to go through a major shift. We've already seen it. They're lowering IPOs. You cannot have all that money without adjustment. And in the next 3 to 4 years, tech is going to be adjusted. This money that everybody just
We
throws
remember
over,
the .com.
yeah, it's going to come back into balance. You just have to have the patience. And a lot of people have to stop thinking as, the reason I'm not looking for investment money, but to look for a long-term way of self-funding is because investment, that type of artificial funding is going to come to a stop or severely change.
Yeah.
And it's not, it only benefits 10 or 20. If you can solve and come up with real ways of funding businesses
Yes.
that alter, then you could have much more impact. It's harder. I encourage people to do it, but if I went into the incubators, it will change the whole project. I want these projects to work in cities where there is no funding, where someone just has talent and resources and can use that. And that means finding a more organic way of doing these things.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've been thinking of, and we'll
Now,
certainly talk about it
Here's
on camera.
what we were
but-
also saying. He says he has 12 showrooms.
Right,
What is a showroom?
yeah.
I mean, we have to stop rethinking things, and this is what I find a lot.
A
because
kiosk.
It may be a kiosk, but a showroom in a tech company could be in a co-working space.
That's what I'm saying.
$600 a month.
That's what I'm saying.
So coming into a showroom.
He just needs a place where you can go in and try on the suit and make sure it's your liking, and that's
I don't
the
even
end of
think
it.
they do try-ons. From what
No,
from-
it sounds like you pick it up and
you
walk
pick
away.
it up or it's delivered.
Absolutely.
And
That's
you
not a
reach-
tailored.
No.
That's just somebody made you a suit.
But these are the guys accustomed getting the T-shirts and the zazzles and the cafe
Exactly.
dress
And
the-
they're like, wow, look, I ordered this from my app, and then I went to a guy on the street out of his car, and he showed me all the pattern, because they have the swatches, a book of swatches. So you pick the
fabric,
lining,
the lining,
you
the-
pick the
yeah.
lining, the fabric, whatever you want, and he
If you
takes
want a
some
contrast,
measurements. Yeah, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if
Don't
I
knock it.
have a list of someone like that who bought at 20, let's say this guy who went and bought this suit is 26 years of age, and he spent $440 for that suit. In 5-10 years, he used to work on Wall Street, still does. He's making more money.
He's evolved to a
He's
better
evolved. So now I know he's ready for Brooks Brothers, or he's been at Brooks. So now I'm going to buy that name.
So you're going to up a new line.
Yeah.
You're going to add a new line. Now here's the thing.
Right.
Even if out of these guys you keep a retention of 20% of your customer list, it's still a pretty
Absolutely.
strong.
What is it? 80% of your
Yeah.
business comes from.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying in a few years, let's say he doesn't want to do this business anymore, this business is going to be attractive to somebody like NYukCo.
Yeah. So
Because
here-
it's a different, because
Yeah.
the one thing I've learned about corporate, one of the companies that I worked with, I told you, was NYukCo. And they make they're the largest intimate maker for women's and men's underwear. And their brand model, I should say their brand, but what their strategy is to go and purchase all of the various brands. So they started off licensing Calvin Klein's, but then they bought it. So now when you see Calvin Klein, that's NYukCo.
Yeah.
That's not Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
When you see DKNY, that's
that's
them.
what I'm saying.
When you
They're-
see DKNY men's, that's them, down to the cologne. Okay? So now what they've done is their strategy is also their distribution. So they have 3 levels of distribution. They have the Walmart in the middle, which is probably the lower
and
to middle income. Then they have the middle, which is the Macy's.
All
And then they
of
have
that's
high, which is
diversification.
Neiman Marcus. Exactly.
No,
So what you call a
Lawrence
vertical
and I
integration.
had
right?
had this because Lawrence's traditional designers don't want to hear anything about lower end.
No, I never said that.
They do not want to hear anything about lower end lines.
And you have a lot of designers that do it. They just do it under a
Different
funny
names.
name.
Yeah.
They'll do it under a
A
quirky name.
different name.
Right.
You
right?
tier.
So you have DKNY, but then you have Donna Karen, right, which is her signature line, which is
Yes.
what you're going to see
You
on New York
license-
Fashion
right.
Week, selling for $1,800 for one little jacket.
Okay, so one of the things we have to do is take lessons from this. And one of the lessons is you got to think bigger than just yourself. If you're only selling and thinking about yourself selling, you're not going to be relevant. You've got to think of new ways to cut costs and gain access and not to put out money before you take in money. Those are lessons we have. You've got to diversify. You've got to think everyone from the $10 item to the $200,000 item, every point in the market needs to be filled, and each has a different strategy. No one is wrong.
Right.
So
you might be placed in the wrong market.
right. But at the same point, do not play with fire. If you don't know your sector, and you're not planning an exit strategy, here's his danger point.
Right.
We spoke about his good points. Somebody's going to copy this model and build on it. Because he has a poor quality product
Right.
and isn't delivering what he's saying,
Right.
it's going to severely affect him and keep him narrow. And that's what's happening. Homejoy had to close because they weren't delivering what's promised. A lot of these tech companies are going to close because in the end, people are going to say, you're not
And
delivering.
Homejoy got how much money you said?
And they cut 40 million and couldn't figure out a way because they saw they would now have to pay people, they closed. Because then they would go.
40 million.
That's because you couldn't think of your math.
That's because you didn't have a real plan. Maybe
In the
to begin
first
with.
place. Had they bought the vehicles, no, they were perfect for the vehicles. They could have franchised their little cleaning services.
Absolutely.
And I've always said this.
Absolutely.
They could have bought their cleaning fluids. So not only were they making money on what you paid,
Right.
they were reselling the vehicles, the liquids, everything. They could have had so many revenue streams.
You
But-
know, I will just say this really quickly because I know we have to go, but the one thing, I know it sounds like a cliche, but the one thing you hear every successful company owner, entrepreneur say is that you really have to care about your customer. Whoever that customer is, you really, because when you focus on that, you build out of that and you build a strong platform. So even if something is not right, you fix it. You don't close your doors because you got $40 million and can't figure out how to pay
And
people.
better than
If
that,
you cared about your
learn
customer.
from other people's mistake. I keep tabs on fashion tech.
Right.
Because I'm looking at what they're doing right and
Right.
doing wrong.
Because you can learn from
I can
even
learn.
what those
You don't have to
do
spend the money to learn from them. Quirky clothes, an excellent concept, but you can't manufacture abroad and not have problems.
Absolutely.
You know, and so why did it close? The concept wasn't wrong. They had gotten it. Some people's expectations are even too high. You know, why is GoPro doing well when others aren't? He grew
Right.
slower than most.
Right.
You know,
Because he took the time to really
and he
understand.
really has a product. He doesn't just have hype. He has a solid product.
But you know, it's like I said, a lot of these companies are just let me start something so I could flip this. And like people who buy homes and flip it. And I mean, we just came out of a recession where that was running rampant and we got caught with our pants down.
Well,
you
it's
know?
happening in tech.
And it's happening now in tech.
It's happening in tech. A lot, and the experts in tech. I mean, the people who write expertly in tech are no more experts than the people building the company. And having a writing degree does not make you a critic. It means you can edit the critic's work. Being able to research, being able to ask the right questions at a total. So there's a lot of room for growth. But I'm glad you pointed this out to us because we were looking at a couple others. And
I brought it because I know you both are.
We wouldn't see it.
I know you're a tailor of men's clothing,
Yeah,
and I know
and
you've done
he's
tailoring in the
actually
best.
planning a
Because you
similar.
make clothes for me.
Yes, he's also
I'm
doing
planning something really close to this.
something very close to this. Mine is a different take. Okay, he's in tailoring. Mine is. I really believe in apparel, and so.
And you have a passion for it. I mean, that's
Right.
how we met. And I know you have a passion for clothing and how it looks on a man's body or a woman's body, and you know, putting a product out there that you know someone is going to be happy with for years to come.
And to those
What
who are
I looked at this young man, what I saw right away was, oh, this young man is franchising his business. And then a little bit more, you know, thought, I really see that the relationship with the smart car company is something that can
It's-
help his
It's
revenue
a-
model as well.
It's a lean startup model. It's about not putting out much.
And it's
a brilliant.
It's
it
a
is
multi-
brilliant.
mul-
And in the
it's a
meantime,
multi-stream
you're
income.
building up a qualified buyer,
It's a
a
list.
qualified
Your
consumer.
Here's the thing: people don't realize your business is your list.
That's right.
When I share other
It
design,
is.
look, I share, and I'm about to do that. Other designers' work. I never ask them for their list. I share my list, and they never get that. That my
Why are
thing-
you being so kind, sort of? Like,
Well, here's
why-
the thing.
No, I'm saying that's the.
and no, they don't share. When I share, we'll come back because that's the other thing we need to work on. But I think that's the other thing we're gonna handle.
Okay.
How and why we share.